Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone. As I get to ride home with you in the afternoon, you may find us syndicated on television. That is at Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on the Newscasters.com. You can also find us on the good old radio now, WZLA there, the country giant right here in South Carolina. So proud to be part of that team as well. Continue sending email. It just absolutely makes my day. Victoria can tell you we love hearing from you. Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna at donnasedge.com. Okay, I've got a New Yorker with me right now. Well, you kind of like both coasts. You're New York, you're California, and all points in between. I'd like to say you're from South Carolina. Why don't you come down this way?
I would love to. You know, my father retired to North Carolina. I absolutely loved it. I went from Long Beach, Long Island in New York to Long Beach, California. Neither one of them is there any good right at this point. California's got its problems with Newsom. But New York, I didn't think ever in my lifetime, Donna, that I would see what has happened to the state, to New York, especially with the mayor. I mean, this is kind of incredible what's going on. And, you know, and we're getting a touch of this all over our country. So it's really scary. But I am wondering how much of New York and the money is going to stay, especially that the stock market is looking to go to Texas, which would be a great, it would be better than where it's staying right now. And I'm just wondering how much money is going to leave New York.
Okay, because New York is known for that. I mean, that is New York. So what would that do to the state of New York?
Well, what it would do, it would turn it over to, I mean, we have a bunch of silly people. These young women think that Sharia law, rah, rah. Do they have any idea?
Oh,
the night that he won, I was watching and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, let everybody be who they're going to be. But if the trans community, the gay community, and these liberal women think that they are going to have a voice, they're out of their minds.
They most certainly are. And let me tell you something else. The same group of people right there were okay with men competing in women's contests. So, I mean, what else can you say?
There really isn't much. I don't know what it's going to take for them to wake up and realize that what has happened is world changing. We have opened the door. Thank goodness in Michigan that mayor lost. But we have incredible, I mean, I don't even know what California is going to do for governor. I mean, Newsom looks like, did you see the amount of people that he had in Texas yesterday? What do these people in Texas know about how we live here in California and the way we're getting? Now, I'm a small business owner and I'm being choked to death. I kid you not. And I'm looking at all of my clients and their lives. I don't know what it's going to take. What do we have? We have one guy who's out there trying to wave his flag, Steve Hilton. But yet if I stop and I ask every customer that sits in my chair who Steve Hilton is, they have no idea. They just don't know anything. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because I think that we were smart as far as you and I going and doing what we're doing as far as podcasting. And remember, we started, it was internet radio. There wasn't even the word podcasting. But I think that that's the way that people are going to get the right information, such as platforms that we've designed. I mean, we've designed now, and we have a lot of anchors. TV anchors are coming on board. We're growing every day with people that have something to say of value. And I didn't sell out, and, we stood real strong. The board has done real strong on not, selling out to Google ads and critter ads and having all garbage infiltrate. I truly believed, and thank you for your invite, I truly believe that we are the future and that if we keep it as a good platform, quality podcasters bring, as you know, quality sponsors. And it's just very interesting to see how uneducated people are. I watch the interviews that are being done in New York. They have no idea what's coming. They just don't. They are so uneducated with the politics of New York. They honestly think that, and I'm listening to these interviews, well, he's young, fresh, and we need new ideas. These are the new ideas you want? Do you have any idea? I mean, we're listening now 5 times a day in some say is the call to prayer in cities that are happening. And you're getting woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning through a sound system with a call to prayer. And it's like, I don't understand how for Christians, they could separate church and state. And yet we're sitting here and we're allowing the collapse of our country and what we stand by. I mean, look at our money. In God we trust. It doesn't say in Allah. And that's another frightening thing. When you take away, they just, as you noticed yesterday, I think the last penny was rolled out. No more pennies are being made. And slowly but surely everything's going to be digital currency. And that's frightening to me because it gives you the feeling of losing control of your own earnings, of your own money. Because if I have $5, I'm still going to have $5. With crypto, I don't know. I don't know where it's going, digital currency. And I try to keep up on it. But I don't know about you, but I find it extremely confusing. And I've got people. What's that?
I do too. And one thing I wanted to ask you about is gold. Okay, there are so many people who are not buying gold. They're buying a gold certificate. Right. That's not the same. That's not the same. If I buy gold, I want it where I want to be able to hold it in my hand.
With 2 hands.
Things. I mean, something happens. I'm just telling you, the certificate is not the same as having that gold in your hand. It's not the same.
Well, no, and it's not going to be the same. And digital currency, with all of, let's face it, what we have witnessed, you and I, in our years, with all that's out there in digital currency, I don't know who can wipe it out or anything. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like having it out there is allowing, I am getting more people hitting me up on social media about, are you into this? And have you familiar with that? And all they want to do, there is so many scams. It is extremely frightening.
It most certainly is. And I'll just tell you something else. And this because I'm getting texts every day now. And it'll be somebody, they'll act like they know me. And it's like, hey, Donna, can we meet for lunch today? I mean, I just delete those out. And I get these crazy phone calls as well. But I get a lot of scams. I mean, and I have to answer every call just like you do, because I never know when it's an important client calling from their headquarters in another part of the country. So I have to take the calls. But if I hear chickens in the background, or if they, if it just is this really strange, thick accent, I take up on them. I mean, and you're going to love this. So Phil and I, this is a couple of years ago, I think. And so we were pulling up at Lowe's. We were going to do some repairs to the house, some updates. And so I get a phone call and I had to answer it because I didn't know, so I answered it, and the guy said he was from Publishers Clearinghouse. And I said, oh, you are? And he said, yeah, you have one. And then he had this really thick, language. It was not good English. It was just like broken. It was just horrible. And so I heard chickens in the background. And I tell Phil, I said, how many people get suckered into this stuff? I said, I'm going to talk to him. We got a little bit of time. And I said, do I hear chickens in the background? And he said, oh, those are our mascots. Like Publishers Clearinghouse is going to have chickens for a mascot. But what they know people are gullible now. You've had Biden voted in. As president, that should be gullible enough for you. And then Obama got voted in twice. And then you get this goofy mayor here in New York. He has been voted in. All that tells the scammers is people are stupid. That's all it tells.
And that's exactly what it tells them. And it's very interesting because I can tell the scammers these days when they talk to me and they all call me dear. If you're calling me dear, then I know you're a scam. Don't call me dear. And that's the one word that is like my ding, 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 ding kind of word. You know, and they'll text me, have you looked at, you know, dear, we're looking to support you, no, dear. And that's a word, but it is true. But let's look at it as far as what you just said, as far as people being able to be scammed. Let's look at the mayor race. The amount of money that was put into promoting Mandamic was absolutely incredible. And then to think that New York, are you seriously the only one you're going to throw out at us is Cuomo? That's what you're throwing out at us? I mean, it's like, what? He caused so much chaos during COVID. And then him and his brother with their ridiculous, you know, what they were putting out on social media as if they didn't have, you know, they were above. The one guy, his brother, Chris, is out on a mountain bike and some guy tracks him, if you remember. And then he's coming up out of the basement like he just, you know, he's just coming alive. No, you are scamming us there. And then you're going to come back after what Cuomo did. Do you know how many of my elderly parents were lost, their lives ended while they were in the care, and he sent them all to these places that they never should have been sent to? I have clients that never said goodbye to their parents because of what they did. And it's just ridiculous to me that the only people that we had to put up against a Democrat, socialist, communist, whatever, he's all of it as far as I'm concerned, was Cuomo. That was the best that they could do. Something is wrong. I mean, and everything I'm looking at, you know, I'm just so leery of everything, Donna, you know, and I'm just trying to figure out. And that's why it's really interesting on the Newscasters Studio that we have had people that really have been censored or taken down and their voice has been shut down have come to us because we own the network, number one, and we're not going to censor your voice as long as you stay along, you know, with journalistic ethics and integrity. That's what we stand for, and you have freedom of voice here. And it's just very interesting to watch how people are just blindly just going about things blindly. I have a woman now who has a studio with us, and she's trying to tell me this morning, she's asking for help because she had a trademark attorney, supposedly trademark attorney, contact her and tell her that either she has to take down her trademark or sell it to them. Why? Because that's well, I'm going to talk with her. I didn't want to get too much on text messaging, but I told her after talking with you today, I would have time to discuss with her. But then she says, "Oh, I just got off a call, and the trademark and this one, they're fighting back and forth." And I said, "Be careful. They could be very much in it together. You know, you've got two parties fighting for your trademark. They could very much coming at you together, trying to let you know, no, we're doing the right thing for you. No." But I'm like, they're looking to sell. First of all, they're telling you your trademark is already in use and now they want to buy it. Doesn't make sense. If it's already in use, then come at you that you can't use it. But to come at you that they want to buy the trademark that you have already built, that's a scam.
How long has she had that trademark?
That's what I'm going to find out. I didn't have time because she just started texting me before I came on with you, and then we started a little earlier. So I'll get all that information. But she was the last thing she had asked me if I had known of anybody that knows about trademarks. So, I mean, she's had it for a while because she's been doing, you know, for a couple of years. She does pageants. Mm-hmm. And so they're trying to tell her she can't use it, but I was quite suspicious when
it's a scammer. Just don't have any more contact with them.
Well, that's it. And you know, well, our lawyer will contact you, and I'm well, let their lawyer contact you. I cannot see how somebody's telling you that you can't use the trademark; it's already in use, and then they want to buy your trademark. That's what doesn't make sense to me. Why would they want to buy it instead of sending a letter?
Scammers don't make sense. Scammers don't make sense. I mean, they'll try to come at you, and they don't even think it out. They'll try to come at you with every dart they possibly can, hoping they can get you. You know,
that's what I was thinking.
I'll do it. Yeah.
And that's what got me, is that they had her in a conversation with these two people back and forth. And she says, well, you know, they're getting angry with one another. I said, are you sure that these two aren't in together to scam you? It's like, I didn't.
This is just like the U.S. government, Victoria. Okay, I know I'm not a Democrat, and I'm pretty close to not being a Republican in most cases too, because I sometimes feel like they're working with each other to create division. I really do. You know, we're going to get them this way. No, we're going to get them this way. We're going to create division. And I think that's what it's all about, is creating division. If you can just create division, there's weakness right there. Okay, there's weakness within the country.
The Obama administration never let a good crisis go to waste. Remember that slogan?
Yep.
So create crisis, create fires all over the place, distract people. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what I think they're very good at, both parties. I still want to know who the two nay votes were on the bill. There were two Republican nay votes. I haven't researched it enough. It just came up across me. But I want to know who are the two Republicans. That's what I'm looking to see. Mm-hmm. And that whole thing with shutting the government down. I mean, for what? What did the Democrats gain by all this? The only thing they gained was showing us what an idiot Schumer is, and now they're going to push AOC into Schumer's position. That's how I see it.
Victoria, we're going to have to go into break. We've added some more sponsors, and so we're going to have to go.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about my Patriot Supply. I don't know if you knew about them. So they're with us now. And by the way, you can go to donnasedge.com and click on the link. You'll find my Patriot Supply, the logo there. Click on it, and you'll be able to save a lot of money. And they're doing a big clearance sale for Christmas, just in time for the holidays. Go ahead and get that, okay? Now, I have my own foods done that way too. And I will tell you, it lasts a long time, much longer than mine do, because the way they create this is you've got food that's going to last at least 30 years. And I was just thinking about this. You're always thinking about things you can hand down to your children, you know, give them, you know, like money, whatever. A good thing to give your kids is 30-year supply of food. That would be an awesome thing to do right there. So go to Donna.com and get that Patriot Supply. And then also wanted to mention Eggs Up Grill. There's probably going to be one in your neck of the woods, Victoria. They're going to add about 100 stores in the United States this coming year. And it's a nice restaurant, and they serve breakfast, and they also serve lunch. Now, you can have your breakfast at lunch if you'd like, or you can have a burger, you can have a steak, you can have whatever you want. But anyway, they're a great company. And they are giving away a $25 gift card every Friday, and also Honey Baked Ham. Don't forget them. They're doing the same thing. Twin City Used Cars, all of our sponsors who are still with us. I just appreciate you guys so much. Let's go into a break, and we'll return in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television and radio talk show. And I'm so glad to have with me Victoria Lee Scott. And you know what? You guys are doing so many great things. I don't know that I've ever seen a business grow quite as fast as yours has. But it's a common thing, though. People want a voice. People with walking around gum chewing, common horse sense would like to be able to talk with other folks and gather the right information. So you guys started.
That's what we do good. Just like I am here. I have one of our podcasters just said, is there a way I can get, another podcaster on my show? And I said, yeah, that's what we do. I've been on your show every month. And that's the good thing about the network, is that we're all here to promote and present, good information. And that's what this is about. And try to leave all the garbage out and try to give people something. I listen to so many, podcasters, and the garbage that's out there is crazy.
Incredible.
So I am very proud to bring quality people to our network.
It's absolutely wonderful. Let's talk about the government shutdown. And so, and it's so funny. Even if you go to Chat GPT, you're going to find it's almost like they don't know what's going on either. So I've got what happened. The government entered a shutdown October the 1st, 2025, when Congress failed to pass the needed appropriations and funding extensions by the deadline. Now, after negotiations, a deal was reached and signed into law on November the 12th, 2025, ending the shutdown. The shutdown lasted about 43 days, making it the longest in U.S. history. The problem is who's taking the blame, and it's the guy who's ahead of the wheel right here, and that's Donald J. Trump, our president. What if, and you and I have discussed this before, and I think a lot of people are kitchen table talking about this. Okay, if there's a government shutdown and veterans can't get their money and other folks can't get their money, why is it the Congress continues to be paid? Why is it that people in office continue to be paid? That's not a fair outcome.
That is not, and that was probably one of my biggest problems on it, as to, wait a minute, you got Congress, and then if you look, do you see how many people were not in those seats? And you're still getting paid, but yeah, our veterans, and I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Our priorities are so wrong. I don't know what it is going to take. Is it going to take something like New York for people to realize that we are way off track here? I don't know what's going to pull us back, but it's so far. Once you go down a rabbit hole to try to get out, it's almost impossible. And that's what I'm finding. Once we allow these things to keep happening, how are we going to get back to the realism of what our country is founded and based upon? Especially when you have a generation that has been indoctrinated into half of this country's history. We have a generation that believes that capitalism is wrong, that, only the rich. And I'm like, well, if the rich leave New York and the rich start leaving these cities, then what are we going to be left with? I mean, it's pretty frightening as to, I agree mainly with what you spoke about before. I agree that on both sides of the aisle, I think it's like peekaboo, ICU is not really happening. We are just allowing them to continually telling us their side, our side. There is no we. Where is the we, the American people? That's what we're missing. And I knew that we were in for a heck of a fight when COVID first hit. When COVID first hit, we had Donald Trump get up there and start doing. But if they would have, and that's when I realized that they're all in this and there's not, this isn't as good as it seems. They should have, both sides of the aisle should have stood up there. And they should have made a point to tell the American people, this isn't an either side of the aisle issue. We are standing here together to protect you, the American people. But that's not what we got. We got that perfect divide starting. And we haven't been able to repair that divide at all. You were able to get your paychecks in Congress, but yet you allowed the American people to suffer. I mean, and I understand. First of all, with the SNAP program, I think it was very good that we shut it down, number one. Because if you need it, then you can reapply it again. But we must cut out the garbage. When I am sitting here watching people on social media, their nails, I know how much it costs to get your hair and nails done. I own a salon. I know what it costs. When you are sitting there and you are 300 pounds telling me you're going to starve, your nails are out to here, not just polished, but airbrushed and designs and everything else. And your hair has the highest fashion color, or it's highlighted, which costs a lot of money. That's what you spent your money on. False. How about now? Yesterday, I talked to a woman who owns an eyelash studio, and she's suffering terribly and has to let her technicians, two of her technicians, go because her business. And I'm like, well, people shouldn't be using that money to put false eyelashes on to begin with. Mm-hmm. So in its own way, I find that if you are in need, then reapply. Give them a place to go that they can get the benefits that are needed for their families and their children. But as far as the waste goes, oh no, it is time to stop the waste, fraud, and the abuse to our system. Because
well, let me mention one other thing. Is this is in the early 80s. This is before Reagan became president. And I was working for a company, and so they let me and just like half the staff go. And I was a newbie on the team. And so of course, I was one of the first ones to let go. And so I really didn't want to draw unemployment, but I did. And so I went, but I didn't drop it for like 2 weeks. But the point is this, okay, so we had a sheet of paper. This is before computers and all that stuff. So we had a sheet of paper, and what we had to do is go to I think 3 to 5 businesses a week or something like that. You had to have the appropriate person to sign that you could come by to try to get a job with them. That had to be done, because if you did not have that complete, it was just one sheet, but you had to have, I forgot how many. I think it was like 3 or 5 people you had to visit. Right. And if you didn't have that done, then you didn't get the unemployment. Well, I would have and I did. I'd rather go out and try to get a job than to go out and try to get 5 people to fill out a piece of papers and sit on my rear and make half the salary I was making. I mean, that was my point.
Right. But the problem is that we have allowed this to grow to the point that it has become a way of life, not just for one generation, but since the time you're talking about. This is a way of life for them. They don't want to get jobs. They don't want to be productive. And then when they don't get what they want, they're going to go in and steal it. And that's terrible. You've got to be kidding me. It's like we have lost what we have been built and founded upon. I mean, this country was founded upon some great Americans, and, we've helped each other and we've grown and prospered. But now the scales are tipping for the simple fact is, no, you have created this divide, given these people. When I hear the amount of money that these people are getting, why would they go to work, Donna? Why would they go to work when they can open up their EBT?
There are people getting EBT cards with $1,000 on them. It would take.
There's a lot more. There are some that are getting 5,000 on those cards.
Oh.
When you have a family of 4, 5,000.
We spend nowhere near that amount in groceries, feeling I don't. Of course, I mean, that's a lot of gardening and all that.
No, The biggest scam with this is it has nothing to do with them using their ABT for food. The biggest scam is they're selling those cards.
Yes,
That's why they're having all these children to get on that, because they got the link and they get the they get cash out to sell those EBT cards. That's why.
Like convenience stores and grocery stores and places like that, and these people are buying them for half the price. I mean,
Right.
so let's make it easy math. Let's just say you're getting $1,000 a month, which is nuts, but you're getting $1,000 a month. You're doing good to get $500. I mean, you really are.
Even that, and actually the majority of that is you would give up $200 of that 1,000. So for most people with those odds, the 800 a month is satisfactory. They don't, they don't need anything else. And I just think the whole thing needed to be shut down in order for you to reapply. To reapply for what? I mean, if you are able-bodied, you know what? I'm not seeing any of these SNAP people. The only thing they have a problem with is overeating right now. And I don't mean to say it, but they're all huge and they're all worried about their food. And then when they're asked, well, why don't you just get a job? It's like, well, I don't want to. Well, that's not a good enough answer as far as I'm concerned.
No. If I had wanted to stay out until 5 o'clock in the morning and my parents had said, you're not going to, and I'd said, but I want to, I would have been backhanded. I'm just telling you, that wouldn't have worked. And
no, my father would have put a tent in the backyard.
Yeah, slapped me back into yesterday is what they would have done. There is no point in there is like, okay, I know the Bible speaks of pride and all this kind of stuff, but I think there's different types of pride. You got to have some sort of pride in yourself, to get up, take a bath, comb your hair, do what, there's some pride you need to have. And wanting everybody to know, because I had a friend one time was going through a divorce and had it rough. I mean, bad. And I'm the only person she told that she was drawing welfare and food stamps, and she didn't stay on it long. She was so afraid somebody was going to find out about it. And so she worked really, really hard, and it was hard to do, raise kids. I think she had 3 kids at the time. It was hard for her to do, but she did it. And I know a lady, her name was Pearl Williams, and she was at Jacksonville State University, Black lady. And I'm going to tell you what, this woman right here, she's awesome. So what happened was then her husband left her with 3 boys. And she said, a lot of my friends were on, doing welfare and food stamps and all that kind of stuff. And she said, I didn't want to do that. So she held 2 and 3 jobs to get her degree. And now she's a big shot at Jacksonville State University. Well, I think she's retired now, but she was a big shot at Jacksonville State University. And she didn't care what color they were. If you didn't try to make better of yourself and not to be on food stamps and welfare, she talked with you about it. But
and the thing is it was implemented to help Americans who really needed the help. But what has happened is not just one, we got 2 and 3 generations that believe that this is a way of life. And that's what's so sad, because let's face it, today there's plenty of help to go to school. There's plenty of jobs, and even remote jobs, online jobs. There is work out there. But we have people that just don't want to do it because the government has given them a handout that they have learned to live in the boundaries of that handout, and they're just fine with that. They don't have the ambition to grow. But if you knew that you were on a program and you only had it for a certain amount of time, and we had to go back to those days where you had to produce and your neighbor couldn't sign that you went for a job, but it had to be a legitimate place, we would have a lot more people being employed. But there are no boundaries to what they have to do. There just isn't. And now they're all getting mad because they're all on social media stating everything. And now they're crying back on social media because the government has tracked them down and is now prosecuting them for them to pay back the money that the government gave them.
With interest. Okay, so you and I own a business. Okay, if we're behind on our taxes, you know what happens. They're going to charge interest and penalties, and it's going to be ungodly, the amount of interest and penalties they're going to charge you. They are going to. So why not make those folks pay it back?
100%. Hey, I just had to because I own the salon, my small business, but I also am the president of the Newscasters Studio. So my accountant did my taxes for the salon, which went fine. And then he had to go in and amend them for the Newscasters Studio. Well, let me tell you, I got a big bill. And what I did is I just took and paid that bill. I didn't want to do payments, or I didn't want any penalties, or I didn't want the IRS. And it's like, you wouldn't believe how many people came out of the woodwork to try to tell me on how I can avoid that. And I'm like, no, don't you understand that every time you make a wrong choice, it's going to come back. I don't care if it's 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years down the road. You go to retire, and I guarantee you ain't going to have that money that they're going to give you in Social Security, because they're going to take it all back. So, but it's amazing on how many people, it takes more energy to do the wrong thing and to cover your tracks than it would if you just did the right thing.
And I have a hard enough time remembering what I had for breakfast this morning. I don't want to have to remember a bunch of lies I told. I mean, your life can be so much more free. I mean, I don't know how to get that instilled in everybody's head. I mean, but there was a time people did, if they were on food stamps and welfare, they didn't want anybody to know.
Nobody. It was an embarrassment to need a handout. And that's why it was implemented in the beginning. But if you remember when that first, I mean, there was, I remember the different labeling on the food and everything. I mean, it was meant to help you, and that's what you used it for. But to open it up and to give credit cards with no payback, that's what they're actually doing. And then every month you just get, your deposit goes on your card to use wherever you want. And like I said, the biggest scam is getting those cards at the highest that you can get. So keep having all these children with no baby daddies. And every time you have another child, your EBT credit card gets more money. And then what they're doing is like I said, they're taking those cards and they're selling them. And they're taking the cash. And that's what's got to stop. It has to stop. I mean, what we're seeing throughout this whole country, the waste, fraud, and the abuse. I think the government, I understand, keep the shutdown in order to realign this country. But as far as I'm concerned, you take all those congressmen and senators' paychecks and you keep it to our military so they can keep us protected. But don't you dare take away money from our military families.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have such a long shutdown. I promise you that. They'd jump right on it. They'd be Johnny on the spot and get that fixed. Look, Victoria, we've got to go into another commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television and radio talk show. You can find us on television, Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. We appreciate Victoria Lee Scott and all the team there for making this such a great way to get that word out without having to worry about it. You know, there was I've worked for radio stations and television stations before. Now I have to say the television station I worked for was awesome, and they let me have my voice. But I'm going to tell you what, even a Fox News affiliate I had to watch what I said. Because I could see and I just got tired of that. I didn't like the wait. And because of COVID, and it really helped me out in the long run, because it helped me to take that step outside of that realm and go at it on my own. Now, I owned the show at that time, and I rented space from the station. But in order to rent space from the station, I had to keep my mouth shut. So and that was hard to do when I was seeing things that were happening that should not be happening. But I appreciate the newscasters for letting me have my voice out there again. It feels good, because I feel like I'm doing something. I don't want to sound like I'm getting a memo like from ABC News or something like that. You know, no, you can say this, but you can't say that. You can say this. I don't want to hear any of that. Praise Biden, hate Trump. Praise Biden, hate Trump. That's all it's about. It's all the talking points they have. But now, do I like every single thing Trump does? No. Trump is a human being. We're human beings. Okay, we're going to make some decisions that may not exactly be right, but I'm just going to have to tell you 99.9% of what he does I like. And another thing is, I don't think he's rude, Victoria. I've heard that from so many people. Well, that's the rudest man. That's just... all he's doing is speaking what the rest of us are thinking. All of us are thinking.
We're New Yorkers. We're New Yorkers, and we could have that effect on people. Donald Trump is like this. So you sit there and you bang into somebody, right? And the second time, you bang into them again. Please don't do that again. And you bang into them again. Well, like Donald Trump, you do it by the fourth time, and you're going to get exactly what it is, because you're not paying attention. Here's one thing I want to discuss with you, Donna. What are we going to do about the amount of money Nancy Pelosi has retired with? How does a person, do you believe the amount of money that this woman has accumulated while sitting in that position at what, $175,000 a year? Is she outdid Berkshire Hathaway in what she's done. And that's what I think's got to stop. I mean, not only just...
There has to be term limits. There has to be. What these people are doing. Okay, now what Martha Stewart was arrested for, insider trading, that's what they're doing.
But they can do it legally because they're allowed to. And that's what's so bad. And they can sway to make it go for them. They know exactly when, where, how, and why. You don't accumulate $415 million on a $175,000 a year job. She's not that smart. She's not that.
I'll have to tell you what smart business people do. Okay, and we have someone stealing from our company. Okay, so what happened was there's some money missing, and I told Phil, I said, check we had 8 locations. I said, check 7 stores, but don't worry about Michelle's store, because I think Michelle is okay. She was married to my sister's brother-in-law, something like that. But anyway, I don't know. I just didn't think she would do us that way. I thought anybody else in any of the stores could, but not her. So Phil said, I'm not finding it in these 7 stores. It's got to be hers. And you know him, he's a bulldog. Well, he gets in there and he finds it. Well, I wasn't mad because she stole the money. I was not mad because Michelle stole the money. I was mad because she thought I was stupid and foolish enough not to catch her. So this is what I'm trying to say. Any business, I don't care if you're small, medium, or large, any business, you're going to notice money going out somewhere in the stratosphere. If you've got any kind of a brain about yourself at all, you're going to try to track that down and find out what the problem is and get rid of that cancer. You're going to have to, or you're going to be out of business, because people like that don't know when to stop. They'll just keep on and on and on. And this looks good. Well, I got by with it this time. I'll try it again. And that's exactly what this Michelle did in my business. Said, we got our money back. I'm pretty sure she told me.
I own a hair salon. I'm in and out all day long. And it is very interesting to me that I have had employees that think they could take product off the shelves, off the back one. And I'm not. You move a product and I know it's gone. And the same thing too. I have all of my colors, right? And all of a sudden I'll go in and I'm like, well, who's been working their clients off of my colors? It's like, are you that ridiculous to think? And even this week, one of the girls, I have a for sale table now. Now those products have been sitting there and these girls get half off of my products. Sorry. Of my products. All right. But these girls had the nerve to wait until I put because the holidays are coming and I thought I would help my clients, things I want to get rid of to turn off interview. I put a sale table on. All of a sudden I come in and I'm like, wow, we sold a lot off the sale table. My employees took them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you guys have to be kidding me. Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous. And it blew me away that, I take care of you. You wait until I put it on to give my clients, to give our clients. Where are you going to get a quality shampoo at $7? But I'm putting it out there because I want to move my inventory but I was livid when I went in this past Monday and I looked and I'm like, and not only that, but I have employees that I go in to do my clients on Monday. Everybody worked on Saturday. I didn't work. I go in on Monday to find out that nobody told me we had a plumbing problem and the hairdressing sinks were backed up. And I sat there and I sent the text out. I was livid. You had all weekend. You guys know I work Monday morning. You had all weekend on Saturday. You didn't. Then I go and find out. I go to do the laundry and the towels, and the whole basket is full of soaking wet towels. So don't tell me you didn't know that the sinks were backing up because you used all of my towels that I did on Thursday to mop up the water that I was livid. But the point is like, you've been with me for 25 years. Do you not think that I deserve a little bit? But people will do what, if Victoria's not here, she won't miss the shampoo and she won't miss that. And, oh yeah, I owe you money off the sale table. No, you shouldn't owe me money off the sale table unless you sold it to your clients.
Mm-hmm. And that could be a possibility too. Yeah, to make a little extra. Yeah, I've had people do. People will. Okay, so let's turn that around. Okay, so if we can get people. Why do voters allow the same dipsticks to be voted in year after year after year after year, and no term limits? They do the same old stuff over and over again. They're sitting there, making themselves raises. They vote their own raises in, for goodness sakes. Okay, that should be something we vote for. If you've got a job, sure, you can get a little bit of a raise, but I'm not talking about another extra 20 grand a year. Or 50 grand, whatever it is you're looking for. There's got to be term limits.
That is the number one issue as far as I'm concerned, because what has happened, Donna, as Lawrence had written in his book, God rest his soul, he had written in his book that we have these people sitting there with no term limits. And what has happened is it was originally meant, yeah, there you go. Wake up America and face the dragon, a mystical look at the moral side of politics. If there is one, Lawrence found it. Mm-hmm. But we have people, and what he pointed out in there is that when we have term limits, that means from all different walks of life in communities and neighborhoods, we elect people to go and represent what we, the people, want from our state. But what has happened is, because there are no term limits, as the country evolved, our government did not. And if you start looking at them today, They don't know anything about social media, about the internet, about what's going on. We're looking at these people that, I'm sorry, but sitting at 75 and 80 years old so you can collect a paycheck or still continue your insider trading is not the way this country should be. And now, because we didn't put that interim, our generation in there, we're now having the old generation that know nothing about what their constituents want anymore. And we have a young generation that have no idea what our country is built and founded upon. So we are seeing that divide more and more. And it's just term limits. I am all for term limit. You go, you spend your 4 years and then you go home. Write a book, do whatever it is, write about your experience. But we are having the same retread people, the same thing. And that's why I feel so blessed when I was put inside of me to go from internet radio to go to this next level. And as you know, we were with a former company that did not want to grow, that did not want to believe in what I was saying we should be doing. And therefore, I was fortunate enough to have Mr. Day say, can you do this? And I was like, yes, sir, we can. And we did, and here we are. But you have to evolve with what people want. You have to keep growing, and that's what happened to our country. We're not growing. We have people, as far as I'm concerned, 70 years old out of Congress. It's time to retire. Time to retire. After that, go and live your life. Why are you sitting there?
You're not doing anything new. And I think the reason a lot of these people do that is that they've got their ill doings going on right now. And the longer they're in it, it's like this big spider web. They're all in that government right there.
Yes.
It's likely for them to be caught. And they know
Well, that's what they're so afraid of. They are so afraid of leaving and then the light being shined on them. So they'd rather stay in there because they at least have control.
And
if they want to away from it.
And they're doing like nothing. They're doing nothing but take trips. That's all they're doing. Okay, I wanted to ask you about Caroline Kennedy's son, Jack Schlossberg. What do you know about him? I'm keeping my eyes on him.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time, I mean, first of all, did you see when Trump was in about with the Libby and the drugs? And then all of a sudden you got one guy collapses. Did you see the camera on Kennedy?
I saw that. Yeah.
All of a sudden he looked and he darted. He literally, I was just like, whoa. I had high hopes here. But every time I'm seeing something, it's the curtains being pulled back. I don't know if running on your name and what your family has built, what are you bringing to the table? What are you doing that's different? I mean, that whole Kennedy family, I still wonder what, John Jr. I mean, let's face it, John Jr., right, was running JFK, was running for the seat in New York, if you remember. Yeah. And all of a sudden, his life was cut short with his wife in a plane crash going. And who took his seat? Hillary Clinton took his seat. No, they were just.
First of all, the poor guy. First of all, they're sheltered. They can't be outside like the rest of us are. So you know what that means when you live a sheltered life. You're just not as street smart. Is the way I'm trying to do it. So he tried for the bar 3 times and failed the test every single time.
He did.
So I mean, he's good looking and stuff, but I'm not so sure he would have had whatever he would have been better than Hillary. He would have. But now this Jack, this is Kennedy's grandson. They're trying to keep the legacy going.
Of course.
So he wants to run for Congress.
Right.
And, so I don't know. I don't know. I've got weird, iffy feelings about him anyway.
I really do too.
Well, Caroline,
really
on our dime, on the taxpayer dime, his mother got to travel to Japan how many times? So I mean, under Obama, So, but anyway,
let's look at Biden's son. and nothing has happened to him. I mean, serious.
On our dime.
On ours. Are you kidding me? What a disgrace. And yet they get a pass. They just get a pass, and that's what's got to stop. We are not holding the people that are in those positions accountable. And unless we do term limits, like you said, we're never going to get fresh, young, new faces. I mean, look at the amount of money that Hillary Clinton's daughter and Bill Clinton's daughter, she married Soros's son or nephew, and we got Newsom and Pelosi. I mean, they've got a lock on everything, and that's what's got to break somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it. I really don't, because the corruption is so thick. Every time I turn around, there's something else being exposed. But yet, even with every single Democrat, there is no accountability. None. Zero. We don't even know the true story behind the Obama administration and what he and his lovely companion did. And even if they're children, I'll say it out loud, I don't think either one of those children are theirs.
I don't either. There's so many things if people would just use common sense. Okay, you can type in George W. Bush. We'll just use him for an example. Okay, yeah. George W. Bush, Google it, his family and kids. Well, you're going to see little baby pictures of them with the babies in their arms. And all that. Well, you can do the same Google search, Barack Obama and his husband, wife, whatever that is, and you're not going to see any babies.
No, you don't see those children as babies. And then the doctors that delivered those babies, could those girls look any more like those people? Have you seen that? Those children look exactly like the inner circle of the Obama administration. Serious, the apple didn't fall far from the tree with that. But my point is, and what we're talking about here, is that America is asleep and we are not holding them accountable. And that is what's got to stop. And the only way we're going to do that is put term limits on those that have literally bolted themselves to those seats. We're watching them age. They can't get sentences out. They're an aging generation that should not be controlling our country. They are too afraid to leave because they all got their dirty little fingers in the pie.
And
they're all afraid to leave.
They're all in this crime circle. They all know what the other one is doing. The only way you can get out of it is if somebody kills you. I mean, that's the only way. Because if somebody's about to go tell all, about to write a book, whatever, somehow they magically are dead. I mean,
look how many people the Clintons. I've never seen so many people around a couple. I mean, are you serious? And then you got Obama and the same thing. Anything from anybody telling the truth. And that's what's happening now. They waited long enough, Donna, to uneducate not one, but two generations who are now of voting age that only have half of this country's history. They were indoctrinated, they were groomed, and now they are our voting public. Why do you think? And even with the voting, we can't even trust our voting. Why don't we have voter ID? I can't do anything without my ID. I'm serious. This has got to change. The frightening part about all of this, Donna, is we were told that those are going to destroy us from within and never fire a single shot. And that's exactly what is happening. They waited long enough. They groomed, they uneducated. We have a bunch that don't even know anything, that think that transgender, like the Palestinians, yay, Palestinians, transgender. I'm like, you're the first person they're coming after. And yet you think to be that dumb and young is amazing, Donna. To be that dumb and young.
We got to go. We got to call it a day. I wish we had more
always
time.
a pleasure.
Victoria, thank you so much for being with me today. The Newscasterstudio.com. You got to check it out. If you have a voice and you need to be heard, get in contact with Victoria, and she'll see to it that you're going to be treated fairly. That's the way she'll do it.
100%.
Thanks so much for watching. Victoria, hang around. I got to get you set up for next month. But we'll see you guys later. Remember, continue sending email, Donna@donnasedge.com. See you next month.
And Victoria at thenewscasters.com.